Okay, we are in episode 25 on page 74. We are in the middle of Hrothgar's extended formal speech, talking about his life and then also imparting wisdom, imparting advice to Beowulf, specifically about pride and how to handle pride. And then pride grows in his heart, planted quietly but flourishing. And while the keeper of his soul sleeps on, while conscience rests and the world turns faster, a murderer creeps closer, comes carrying a tight-strung bow with terrible arrows. And those sharp points strike home, are shot in his breast under his helmet. He's helpless. Until the devil's dark urgings wound him, for he can't remember how he clung to the rotting wealth of this world, how he clawed to keep it, how he earned no honor, no glory in giving golden rings, how he forgot the future glory God gave him at his birth, and forgetting, did not care. And finally his body fails him. These bones and flesh quickened by God fall and die, and some other soul inherits his place in heaven, some open-handed giver of old treasures, who takes no delight in mere gold. Guard against such wickedness, beloved Beowulf, best of warriors, and choose instead eternal happiness. Push away pride. Your strength, your power are yours for how many years? Soon you'll return them where they came from. Sickness or a sword's edge will end them, or grasping fire, or the flight of a spear, or surging waves, or a knife's bite, or the terror of old age, or your eyes darkening over. It will come. Death comes faster than you think. No one can flee it. So I have led the Danes for 100 years, protected them from all peoples on this earth, my sword and my spear so ready that no one anywhere under God's high sun was eager to wage war here in Denmark. And here too, the change has come. And we wept for our dead when Grendel invaded Heorot. My enemy raided this hall. My sorrow, my grief was as great and lasting as it was helpless. Then, thanks be given to God, eternal Lord of us all, you came, and now that endless misery was over, and I live now to behold this bloody head. Go in, feast, be as happy as your fame deserves. When morning shines, we shall each have owned more of my treasures. Beowulf obeyed him, entered Heorot cheerfully, and took his place at the table. And once again Danes and Geats feasted together, a host of famous warriors in a single hall. Then the web of darkness fell, and it was night. They rose. Hrothgar, the gray-haired old Dane, was heavy with sleep, and Beowulf was glad that a bed was waiting. The bravest of warriors, exhausted with the work he'd done. A Danish servant showed him the road to the far-off quiet country, where sleep would come and take him and his followers. Hrothgar's visitors were well cared for. Whatever they needed was theirs. Then Beowulf rested. Heorot rose high above him, gleaming in the darkness. The Geats slept till a black-feathered raven sang his cheerful song, and the shining sun burned away shadows. And those seafarers hurried from their beds, anxious to begin the voyage home, ready to start, their hearts already sailing on a ship's swift back. Then Unferth came with Hrunting, his famous sword, and offered it to Beowulf, asked him to accept a precious gift. The prince took it, thanked him, and declared the weapon one he was proud to own. His words, blamed it for nothing, were spoken like the hero he was. The war gear was ready. The Geats were armored and eager to be gone. Quickly, Beowulf sought Hrothgar's throne, where the king sat waiting for his famous visitor's farewell. So Hrothgar's speech continues, his main advice being to be careful of pride. Being too prideful can cause someone to not really see what's happening around them, the treachery. Again, this is another epic simile. Hrothgar is relating to Beowulf based upon his own experiences. Hrothgar then talks about how you can lose your place in heaven if you are too greedy or dishonest. And it's better to be happy with yourself and instead of being wealthy. Wealth is not the most important thing. And then he talks about how you'll never really know that when death will come, but that nobody can avoid it, no matter how brave or how fearless or how successful you've been. Hrothgar then ends his speech, wishes Beowulf farewell. Beowulf and the Danes are happy, rejoicing together. They rest through the night. They sleep soundly. It is the next morning. The Geats are preparing to sail home. Unferth comes to Beowulf and gives him the sword Hrunting. Beowulf graciously accepts the gift, doesn't say anything about the fact that Hrunting failed him in the battle between he and Grendel's mother, which says a lot about his character. Beowulf then, as we leave 25, is on his way to say goodbye to Hrothgar.